Hello, I'm Stephen Flott, the principal at Flott & Co. in Arlington, Virginia. This video addresses the fundamental importance of selecting the right professional to assist you in preparing and filing your U.S. tax returns and bank reports. This is particularly so if you are a U.S. citizen, have lived outside the United States for many years, and have not filed U.S. tax returns or bank reports for several years. Generally, the overwhelming percentage of U.S.-based tax professionals' clients are people who live, work, or have businesses in the United States. In most cases, all of their clients' income is going to come from sources in the United States. The same is true for a tax professional practicing in Italy, for example. That professional will be most familiar with Italian tax laws and returns, and dealing with Italians who have most of their income from sources within Italy. Now say you're an American living in Italy and you need a tax professional to assist you with your Italian and U.S. tax filings. The challenge for you is to find someone who is equally experienced with two different tax systems and two different sets of filing requirements. Our experience is that such a tax professional is the exception, not the rule. Most U.S.-based tax professionals simply are not familiar with the tax complexities of U.S. citizens living abroad. Most foreign-based tax professionals, experienced in their local tax laws, are not familiar with the U.S. tax positions of U.S. citizens living overseas either. The reality is, compliance with the U.S. tax code for U.S. citizens, particularly dual citizens residing outside the United States, is far more complex than for U.S. citizens living inside the United States. There are many tax forms that are not required of U.S.-based taxpayers that are required of U.S. citizens living outside the United States. More to the point, U.S. tax law governs a U.S. citizen's Italian source income on his or her U.S. tax return. It simply does not matter how Italian tax law treats an item of Italian source income. What matters is how that item of income will be treated for U.S. tax purposes. Secondarily, there are other forms, not tax-related, such as the Foreign Bank Account Report, FBAR for short, and the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, FATCA for short, related Form 8938, that are only required to be filed by U.S. citizens with foreign assets or foreign financial accounts located outside the United States. In choosing a tax professional to assist you with U.S. tax and bank account report compliance and planning, you want someone who is experienced specifically in the more complex tax rules that apply to U.S. citizens living overseas. My word of caution to U.S. citizens who live and work outside the United States is do due diligence. Filing U.S. tax returns and bank reports correctly the first time is critical. We have seen many significant errors, mostly by way of omission, made by U.S.-based tax professionals who are simply not familiar with the obligations of U.S. taxpayers living outside the United States. We have seen errors by these same professionals with respect to foreign income and accounts held by U.S. taxpayers living inside the United States, too. But the greatest frequency of fundamental tax compliance errors occur in returns prepared by foreign-based tax professionals. For you, the taxpayer, significant errors in U.S. tax filings can result in costly surprises. We know from direct experience that mistakes made in tax filings are time-consuming and expensive to correct. For example, a client of ours who used a foreign-based tax preparer submitted 12 years of returns on which he claimed his non-U.S. citizen children as dependents, failed to include FATCA-required filings for 2011 and 12, and did not receive advice regarding the fact that he had to file FBARs. The tax return errors resulted in tax interest and penalties assessed to the taxpayer of over $80,000, all of which we were eventually able to have removed, but at some cost to the taxpayer. In short, make sure the person that you hire to provide advice and assistance on your U.S. tax compliance understands the complexities of filing for a U.S. citizen based outside the United States. Ask questions. For example, ask them if they have a valid PTIN. Anyone who prepares or assists in preparing a U.S. federal tax return for compensation must have a valid Paid Preparer Identification Number, PTIN, before preparing returns. Ask specifically about that professional's experience with FBAR and FATCA and other forms required only of U.S. citizens living abroad, such as Form 3520, 5471, etc. If they understand how filing a Form 116 affects alternative minimum tax. Another point to remember is that the person who prepares your return will be the person on whom you will rely to defend the return should the IRS examine it. You have to be confident that the tax preparer you choose is capable of representing you before the Internal Revenue Service and able to communicate with the service should your return be incorrectly processed. As a practical matter, it is a lot harder for someone living 5, 8, or 10 time zones away from the IRS Service Center in Philadelphia, which deals with the return issues related to taxpayers with foreign addresses, to resolve issues quickly and effectively on your behalf. It is to your benefit to make sure that your U.S. tax compliance is done right the first time to protect yourself from expensive mistakes and nasty surprises. If you would like more information on U.S. tax and bank report filing questions, please visit our website at www.flotco.com. Thank you.